Oh no, Mia, I have dumped my Diet Coke all over every copy of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Oh wow. There's probably only a few copies of that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nobody really watches it.
You've probably done the world a good service.
So we can't watch that for this episode of Refried Scenes. Whatever will we do?
Well, I happen to have these two Chris Sarandon posters. You think we should do Fright Night?
Absolutely, yes. Let's do Fright Night.
Okay!
So, yeah, we decided we didn't want to watch Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. And we decided to watch Fright Night instead. So the first Fright Night was what?
1985.
1985?
I've seen both of these before studying, doing the homework for
I've seen the 85
Didn't
one.
we see the remake together in the theater?
Yeah.
When it came out.
It came out in 2011?
I don't have the stat on that. 2011. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, but I've seen the original Fright Night, like, more than a few times.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too.
For one
that was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, one very big reason. And that is why Mia brought posters of Chris Sarandon. Oh yes. That still is a very handsome man.
Oh man. Very handsome man.
Okay, well let's get into this.
Let's talk 1985. Fright Night. Thank you for listening to Refried Scenes. So in the first version, there's, establishing shots where, you're in like a suburban city. Charlie is in high school. He's got a girlfriend and, he wants to have sex. She's not ready for sex. He's a dick boyfriend.
He really wants to have sex.
He really wants to have sex, and she's very much in love with him. She doesn't want to break up, but she's not ready for sex. So there's tension in their relationship. And he sees next door. His window's very close.
Very close
to the window.
Side yard in the It's just like that house
to the window next door.
Hit Jerry's house.
And the suave Chris Sarandon has a lady guest over and is taking her top off and seducing her right in front of the window. And it's weird. They're watching him, watching them, and it's totally creepy. But like as a teenage boy, none of that registers. It's just boobs.
It's like,
boobs.
Holy cow, naked lady across the street.
And she's got great boobs. I can't blame him at all. But he does catch a glimpse of a long fingernailed Chris Sarandon. So he's like, something's not quite
right with the new next door neighbor.
Right. And then they go to high school the next day. There's still the tension between Amy, the girlfriend, and Charlie. And then enter the best friend. What's his name?
Ed. Evil Ed.
Evil Ed.
They call him Evil Ed in school, which is kind of, I don't know.
Everybody had a nickname.
Yeah, and he is the horror guy, so I can see where they'd call him Evil Ed. And he kind of likes it, I think.
It comes off as that he's being made fun of for being weird and liking scary movies, but honestly, let's be honest, we would have totally been friends with him.
Yeah, he would have been part of our gang.
Yeah, for absolutely.
Absolutely.
I would have had to tell him about his laugh a couple of times. Dial it back a little bit,
just
Evil Ed.
A tiny bit. Take it from an 11 to maybe an 8.
Maybe an 8. We could deal with that. But anyway, he doesn't really have any sympathy for Charlie or Amy. He's just like, hee! Laugh. And Charlie, because Evil Ed is well versed in scary movies, he starts to talk to him about his suspicion that the neighbor next door is a vampire. And it's played pretty well. You don't quite know if this is in his mind up until his mom, who is single,
catches a glimpse of the new next door neighbor.
And she's like, "Wait,
well,
I think we'll invite him over for some wine.
I want me some Humperdinck."
And he's like, "Mom, we can't do this.
Don't invite him in.
You can't invite him in. You got to keep the doors locked." Blah 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 blah. Mom doesn't really listen.
No. And what are you gonna? Your teenage kid is like, the next door neighbor's a vampire. Don't invite him inside. next door neighbor's hot. If he wants to bite me, I may let him.
Maybe I'm into that, son. Don't kink shame. So, I'm not sure how it happens. How does he get in the house? Does Mom invite him in?
Mom invites him in.
Okay.
Yeah, Mom invites him in. And his friend, his Renfield, basically. Oh, God, what's his name? Billy. His roommate.
Yeah,
his roommate, Billy. The one that...
He has, like, 0 speaking parts in this.
Right. Billy, who I think is the one
very
that
forgettable character.
Gets him, like, victims, basically, since Jerry can't go out during the day.
They're just stone-faced side character that might as well not even be there.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris Sarandon needs any help.
No. Procuring babes. He does not need that help.
No. So, and I just love how manipulative he is in this scene. The things that he says to Charlie's mother to Charlie's witness is just complete manipulation at its best.
He knows that Charlie knows, and he's just playing with him. It's just like, it's like a cat just toying with a mouse.
It's exactly like a cat toying with a mouse.
It is, and it's really, that's a great scene. That is a really great scene.
It is a fantastic scene. And of course, Mom just thinks it's adorable. She doesn't get,
he's flirting with me.
She doesn't get the double play that he's doing for Charlie's benefit. Now this vampire has invitation to the house.
Yep.
So Charlie's scared about that. Then we have Amy trying to, like, re-win Charlie's affection.
And she's not buying the vampire story. She wants to be a supportive girlfriend, but come on. It's hard to be supportive when your boyfriend is spouting kind of what you consider nonsense.
Yeah. But she's a good girlfriend.
Yeah.
She loves him very much.
She's still trying.
Just like,
she's trying.
Okay, I'm in this for the long haul. We're going to see this vampire thing through. And the police show up to investigate a murder. So there is sort of something to, like, well, maybe he witnessed a murder and it just, the details got fuzzy or whatever. You could kind of, like,
because he also is a fan of horror movies. Maybe he's conflating some of his fandom into what he saw.
There's a lot of that tension with, what is the vampire's name?
Jerry,
that's right.
We all know that Jerry's a vampire. Jerry's not really hiding the fact that he's a vampire.
After Mom leaves after dinner.
Oh, yeah.
He breaks the reveal and he throws Charlie across the room. And I think his fingernails turn and
his eyes
turn red. So he's not even trying to deny being a vampire. He says, you had to tell all the police that I'm a vampire. You're making
my life difficult.
My life difficult.
So, and at this point, access to his house.
I've seen Charlie be a dick to his girlfriend, pressure her for sex, and be an asshole to his best friend Ed. And not the greatest son to his mom. So I'm thinking, well,
Jerry has a point.
I'm kind of on Jerry's side here.
Jerry has a point.
I mean, aside from the murders, I'm on Team Jerry right now.
Yeah.
Evil Ed knows this actor who fights vampires on television.
Well, he's a host. He's a horror host, kind of like Elvira. But he knows the genre, or he knows about vampires, and that is Peter Vincent.
And are they in Las Vegas in the original?
I don't think it specifies. I don't think it specifies where they are in the original. I don't remember them specifying where they are in the original.
Well, they're not far enough from LA that's a difficult trek.
Yeah, because they just drive over to visit Peter.
They just pop on over. Hey, what's up? We got a vampire.
You gotta help us. And Peter Vincent is played by Roddy McDowall. So he's very, very soft-spoken.
And surprised at everything.
Yes. Oh, dear. Oh, Baba.
Another great role. So he's hesitant at first and thinks Charlie is full of crap, but then Amy calls him.
It says, can you just humor him?
Yeah. I know, I'm with you. I'm not buying this vampire thing, but his life is at stake because he's really too far involved.
He believes it.
And he's making dangerous decisions. And I think I skipped over, Ed has been turned.
Yeah, Ed at this point has, Ed goes to the house I believe, to confront Jerry, and then Jerry basically prays.
No, I think he's leaving. He's walking home from
that's right.
Charlie's house.
Yeah, he's walking home from Charlie's house, and then Jerry kind of preys on Ed's, like, isolation.
Yeah, Ed wants to belong.
Yeah. And this
he's
is
an outcast in school.
Ed actually willingly turns. There's no, it's coerced because he is.
It is coerced.
Basically preying on an outcast.
Yeah, and I feel sad for him because we've all felt like we don't belong at points in our life, and you're like, oh, geez.
And here's this guy saying, hey, I'm going to make you really kind of powerful, and you'll belong to this group.
Yes, and you'll be as sexy as me.
No chance. Sorry, Ed, no chance. So Ed has been turned at this point.
Ed has been turned at this point. So when Roddy McDowall's character, who the name of his series is Fright Night.
Yes.
When the Fright Night host gets on board, and do they go to a nightclub at this point?
No, they go to Jerry's house. Because I think he contacts Jerry and says, we're just going to do this to placate.
Oh, that's right.
To placate Charlie.
They talk to not Jerry,
to Billy, to Bob, the
number two.
The number two. I think it's Billy. It's Billy. They talk to him and say, "Look, we just need to do this.
We're his friends. We're bringing him over. We're going to have a civil discussion where we can all convince him that you're not a vampire,
and then he'll leave you alone." And so they kind of agree to it.
They're like, "Oh, dinner is served, sorted."
Somewhat. And it goes like Vincent, he's talking, see, he's not I've sprinkled him with holy water, and he's not a vampire, Charlie. And then he notices that Jerry does not have a reflection.
Yes, and he's not an actor himself, so he does not play this off very well. In high school, Charlie is like, what's going on? I saw that look on your face, and you got out of there in a hurry. You found something that convinced you.
You saw something. No, not at all.
And then we have
the nightclub.
The nightclub scene, which is just thrown in because every 80s cheesy movie has a nightclub scene. And Amy's gotten to the point where she's ready sexually.
Yeah. But now Charlie's too. But now Charlie's completely just off on vampire land.
Off the rails. And then we have Chris Sarandon, who's very suave.
Is he wearing the sweater in the nightclub?
No, I think he's wearing a suit because I remember the sleeves.
I know he's not dressed like the rest of the raping kids in the nightclub.
He's like goth Miami Vice.
Yeah.
They're dancing, and it's a seductive sort of dance, and he convinces her to turn her to a vampire.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's really convincing. I think he has mesmerized her at this point.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because it's not like Ed, where he talked Ed into it, just, preying on his insecurities. This was like, you'll do my bidding now type thing. Yeah.
Right, but also very physical, like, this is how a man should treat you.
Right.
She's being turned into a vampire in this nightclub, and a bouncer alerts another security guard, or maybe the club owner, that there's a threat on the dance floor. And then Chris Sarandon just goes into full vampire mode and like trashes the place. So he's not trying to be undercover.
He's not hiding anymore.
No. So then he goes back home, and then I'm kind of lost here. I know they end up back at the neighborhood. So there's Charlie's house and Jerry's house.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to trap and kill the others.
Yeah, he takes Amy to his house. And then Charlie goes back to Peter and says, you have to help me, because he has Amy.
Okay, that's right.
And Peter's like, I don't want to, no. Peter's like, I just show movies, for Pete's sake. Like, why don't you call Elvira or Svengoolie? But Charlie talks him into it. So they go to Jerry's house to rescue Amy.
Yeah. And then
they initially fight Billy, and Billy just dies like a wait. He's just
an Evil Ed, vampire Evil Ed shows
vampire
up.
Evil Ed. So they go,
and they have a confrontation about that Charlie wasn't that great of a friend to him, And I was like, yes!
Right, yeah. Ed is like, hey, he offered me something you were not
Don't
even
call me
thinking.
evil anymore anyway. And
yeah. And then he kills Ed because he actually stakes him through the heart.
Yeah.
And then Charlie gets locked in with Amy because Jerry's thinking Amy will turn him. Mm-hmm. But he gets away from her. Oh, and then this is the conceit of both movies, and it kind of bugs me, where they say, oh, well, if you kill the headed vampire, then Amy will turn back to normal.
It's very convenient.
It's very convenient, because she hasn't turned completely or something, or it hasn't quite taken hold. But if you kill Jerry, then Amy will turn back into a normal girl. Ed doesn't get that. He doesn't get that. He gets killed. So they destroy Billy. Billy melts. That's right. Billy gets the icky, gross, melty death.
Again, forgettable.
Forgettable, but he did get a great death. And then they take on Jerry, and they find Jerry's coffin in the basement, and they open it up, and then while fighting off Amy, they break windows, and they basically fry Jerry with the sunlight.
With the sunlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where's the mom in this?
Nowhere, which is a problem with both movies. Mom just kind of disappears.
Yeah. I thought that it was explained where she went.
They may say something about her going out of town. But
it's convenient.
It's convenient, yeah. She's conveniently missing.
So, happy ending.
Happy ending. Charlie and Amy have sex.
And Amy are together. Charlie and Amy are together.
Peter Vincent gets renewed for another season or something.
Yeah, and his career was he was an old hack.
Yeah.
Before that, so
now it's his ratings are going way up. I don't know, maybe the vampire community caught wind and wanted to keep track of him or something. and we end with Evil Ed laughing, because we didn't have enough of that laugh in the freaking movie. And that's it. Now they did make a sequel to that.
They did. I have not seen the sequel.
The sequel is terrible. It did bring back Charlie and Peter Vincent.
Oh God, I have seen this.
Yeah, it brought back Brewster and
Amanda Bierce is a large role in this, right?
No, I don't know if she was she in the sequel? They may have recast
I thought it was
Amy
about
because
her.
I think at that point Amanda Bierce was on Married with Children and couldn't do the sequel.
Playing a 35-year-old married woman.
Yeah, well, none of the teenagers look like teenagers. Well, Evil Ed does.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Evil Ed does. But both Charlie and Amy do not look like teenagers.
No.
And we both commented that the way they style Amy in this is really kind of icky. They make her kind of little girlish.
Right, they put her hair in pastel-colored plastic barrettes and, dress her like she'd be in high school, which that part isn't that bad. It's really the hair.
The hair and the way they make her talk.
Yeah.
It kind of just makes her very juvenile.
Yeah, and it's creepy.
And it's kind of creepy because it's coming from Amanda Bierce, who's obviously in her 20s, and it just...
I would say early 30s.
She's much older than a teenager.
Late 20s for...
Yeah.
Who played Charlie?
William Ragsdale.
Okay. Late 20s, I would say, for him.
So they don't look like teenagers.
No.
So there's kind of a creep factor there.
Yeah.
But they had to make her, old enough for Chris Sarandon to mac on in the nightclub.
I mean...
Anyway, so...
Should we talk about the remake?
Yeah, let's talk about the remake. 2011.
Okay. This has the basic story.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of differences as well. Yeah. So, it opens up with an episode of Fright Night?
Well,
or an episode...
We're treated to the new Peter Vincent in this one because he's played by David Tennant, and he's a magician. He's not a late night horror host because those things don't have... I don't think we had any of those. But there was
a vampire on a female vampire.
Yeah.
On the screen.
That was his stage show.
Okay.
Yeah, because he does this stage show with vampires. But he's a magician in Las Vegas.
So this does better at character development, I'm going to say.
For the main characters, I don't think they do quite enough development for Peter Vincent. But they do a much better job with Charlie and with Evil... is he called Evil Ed in the remake?
I don't know what his name is.
I think it's Ed. But I don't know if they actually give him the evil moniker. I just call him Evil Ed because that is just what he's called in the original. So, no, it is. They call him Evil Ed. So yeah, there's a better character development with the trio of teenagers, and they look a little bit more like teenagers.
Yeah.
How old was Anton Yelchin? He had, this was pre-Star Trek.
I think he was early 20s.
Yeah. Because Anton Yelchin plays Charlie, and that made me sad.
That made me sad. He was such a good actor.
And I don't know who plays Amy, but I like Amy a little bit better in the remake because she has a little bit more of she's less juvenile in this one.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more high school kids.
Yeah, because you got Dave Falco or
Franco.
Yeah, Franco shows up there.
Yeah, as like your typical jock. There's and his friends, right? So
yeah, and how is that man a jock? That man is like 4'3". He's tiny. You get the hall scenes.
I like short
like
guys. How tall? What?
I don't know how tall Dave Franco is, but he is not a tall man.
Let me tweet that guy after this. Put his poster up next to Chris Sarandon. He's so tiny next
to all these other actors.
He's just so wee. I'm sure it's the abs.
So yeah, you get a few more actual teenagers in this one.
Right, and that helps develop like the status of where Charlie and Ed and Amy are in school, which is their whole life.
Yeah, because Ed and Charlie used to be best friends.
Yes, and dorks.
And then Charlie got popular. Because he started hanging out with the popular crowd and kind of left Ed behind. But here it's Ed who comes by and says, "You got a vampire next door."
And he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah, because here Jerry is played by Colin Farrell. There's no Billy in this one.
No.
It's just Jerry.
It's just Jerry. I'm glad they got rid of the Billy character. He has it's another good scene of like being invited into the house, although it's totally different.
Yeah.
So I appreciate both of them.
He's far more destructive in this film. Jerry is.
In some ways. To property.
To property, yes. To people, he kills probably about the same number of women as Jerry does in the original.
I mean, he kills Franco and his friends, too.
Well, he turns Franco. Because Franco shows
Oh, that's right.
I was like, well, what was the point of getting Dave Franco in here if you're just going to kill him after 5 minutes of screen time? But then he comes back.
Well, he lived in Las Vegas, so.
Yeah. But here, Ed tells Charlie that he's got a vampire next door. And Charlie doesn't quite believe him until he sees a woman get
like trapped in
the house
in a closet or something.
And then his neighbor, his stripper neighbor, he goes hunting for her, I think, because he sees her go in and she doesn't come back out, and she is trapped down in the basement where Jerry has like holding cells.
Yeah,
and that's where Jerry turns her. Because he's got a whole...
And Charlie tries to rescue her by breaking her out, but when she breaks into the sunlight, she burns.
She burns up. And Jerry knows what's going to happen to her because he knows that he's already turned her.
And he's watching...
Yeah, he's
watching this all from vantage points of the house that they don't know that he's watching.
Yeah. Mom here
Which is an interesting play psychologically.
Yeah. Because here, he doesn't toy with Charlie nearly as much as he did in the original. He just wants Charlie gone.
He toys with him.
But I think it's less playful here. It's more, it's more like, you're messing with my scene, dude.
Yeah, true. True.
And Mom is played by Toni Collette, and once again, Mom is not utilized well here. But at least they explain why she disappears, because they get into a car accident because Jerry comes after them. This is... Ed is turned much the same way because Jerry preys on his loneliness, basically. And then Jerry just trashes Charlie's house because he like blows it the frick up. He just tears out the gas line.
He gave them many opportunities to invite him in, and they did not. And so what he did was, well, I'm gonna have to annihilate the house.
don't need to be invited in if there's no house.
And you know he's done this before.
Oh, yeah.
By the way he says it, and he had everything set up.
The way he knew where the gas line was.
He done this before.
So Mom now knows that Jerry is not normal. Amy knows that Jerry is not normal. This is no longer played as Charlie's just crazy. This is, they know he's not.
And they bring in Peter Vincent much later.
Yeah. And he is incredibly reluctant. Because they tie in a story where he has come across this type of vampire before. He's not a horror host that doesn't believe. He's actually somebody who's dealt with them
He
before.
pretends to not believe until it's a certain point, and then he's like, oh, this is for real. Okay,
let
listen.
me get my vampire slaying stuff because I happen to have that.
Listen, my parents were killed by a vampire of this type, and the only way to handle them is to hide.
Yeah.
And his lady friend in this movie cracked me
oh my god
up.
She has no fucks to give. Her fucks have runneth dry.
She is gorgeous and hilarious, and the two of them are not a happy couple.
No.
And it is the comic relief of this movie.
Yeah. And if you want to see David Tennant scratching his balls in leather pants, here's your movie.
That's not a selling point for me, Carol.
You don't know how many women are like, well, that's a selling point for me. Let me just go get that.
His shirt is off in that scene. And that's the appeal.
Yeah. But he is very reluctant to help Charlie.
Very reluctant.
And eventually
Charlie... he's in some mansion.
Yeah, he's an incredibly wealthy magician.
He's wealthy. He's got the leather pants and the guy liner, and he's just like, I am not the one that gets my hands dirty.
Right.
So, but then he does help eventually, and
come up with the stupid plan of Charlie in like a heat resistant suit.
Flame retardant. Here's what we're going to do, Charlie. You're going to wear this flame retardant suit. You're going to set Jerry on fire.
And you're going to hold him down until the sunlight hits him.
This very, very, very strong vampire in your 130-pound
soaking
body. You got this, man. The flame retardant suit adds 15 pounds.
There you go.
You got this.
That's 145 pounds. That's going to hold that dude down. This centuries-old vampire. It's going to hold him down.
That guy that threw a car down the street?
Yeah. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, Mom. At least they explain where Mom is, because Mom is in the hospital after the car accident, after Jerry chases them in the car.
Yeah.
So she's out. I don't know why you cast Toni Collette in a role where you're not going to utilize her.
She's great in everything.
She's great in everything, but she's underutilized here.
Yeah, that's
Although
true.
I do like the fact that he puts, like, crucifixes all over her hospital rooms. Like, Mom's very religious. But yeah, here there's a whole clan of vampires in Jerry's basement.
Yeah, he's been turning people for a long time and hiding them in the dirt.
Yeah,
underneath
he's got like a tunnel
the house
under his house. So he's been at this house a long time. Well, here's
that
doesn't make sense because they say he's the new neighbor.
Yeah.
So he went digging very quickly, apparently.
Well, if you don't have to sleep, I guess
that's true. You could just
got a lot of time
stay up all night. You dig. But you do get the nightclub scene again, where Jerry turns Amy. It's far less 80s. They don't dance together. It's very much he just grabs her, mesmerizes her, and bites her.
Yeah, and it's clear that that's what's going on.
Yeah. Amy doesn't want this in any way. Ed is killed much the same way, although is a little bit sadder because he actually kind of comes to right before he turns to dust.
He does, and he says it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay, Charlie. Which is kind of like, oh, Ed.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending of this one is just kind of like, That's your plan and it worked?
It never would have happened. Never.
That's your plan and it worked.
The second one of those vampires in the caves would have come out, they would have been so ravenous that they would have just...
They would have torn Peter Vincent apart because they're just like nibbling on him. And it's like, no, come on. David Tennant probably weighs 150 soaking wet.
This is set up to where they're under the house that's been blown up. So there is a break of, like, fading sunlight, and all the vampires are afraid. They're shying away and recoiling into the shadows and afraid to get burned. Listen, man, if these vampires are as hungry as I would be if I was in the dirt for years, I'm not going to let that thing stop me. Right. I'm going to be like, okay, I didn't need those fingers.
Let's just drag drag them into the shadows.
There's absolutely... This one was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and you get the whole, if you kill Jerry, then Amy will turn back to normal, and at this point, Peter Vincent will turn back to normal because they've bit him, and he's starting to turn. So, yeah, they kill Jerry, and Amy's fine, and Peter Vincent's fine.
And we get a Chris Sarandon cameo.
Jerry kills him just right after the car accident. He pulls over in a car. Like, what is going on? And Jerry kills him, and it's great. It's a great cameo.
It's a great scene.
Jerry is far more... Well, he's a far more vicious-looking vampire here.
Let's talk about how the vampires look in this movie. The CGI
is bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I peeked the mic.
Oh, that's okay. We level it.
The CGI, and I'm talking from car crashes to how the vampires change.
Jerry with that.
To the gore, like blood spurts. Yeah. And at one point, Amy is shooting Jerry with like silver, pieces of silver.
Pieces of silver, yeah.
And it's just, you can tell it's all green screen. It really takes you out of the movie.
They do that mummy thing with the elongated jaw, which was so, just everybody was doing it in the 2000s.
And the eyes
Every
are black.
Creature has to have this huge jaw.
And the black eyes.
Yeah, and the black eyes. And
the teeth are just everywhere jagged. They're not... Which bothered me because when Amy first changed, she had these
two little tiny little
cute
vampire teeth are coming in. Isn't that cute? And Jerry's got this mouthful of shark teeth.
And then the next time you see her,
she's got shark.
She opens her mouth and it's a CGI open mouth with 100, 200 teeth in there.
Yeah, and if you're biting somebody like that, you're not turning them into a vampire. You're ripping their neck out.
You're ripping their neck out. And your own lips.
Yeah.
Like how...
It was designed to make you scared of the vampires, but quite frankly, I'm far more scared of Jerry in the first one because I would probably just invite him in because
he's cool as hell.
He's cool as hell. And he looks more, it's mostly practical. Well, it's all practical effects in the 85 version because it didn't have CGI. So when he's turned into a bat thing and he's flying, yes, it's obviously a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't care because when he's Vampire Jerry, he actually looks great.
He looks great. And they're fake teeth, but
But it still looks great.
This is acceptable.
Yeah.
And what they did with this CGI to Jerry, to Amy, to... Again, the, the car accidents and the blood spatters at the nightclub and, It was just so much.
CGI blood never looks good.
So bad.
CGI blood.
It looked like when you're playing Resident Evil 4, which came out 20 years ago.
Yeah. It always looks like video game blood.
Yeah. And that really dropped this movie down.
The ending to this one kind of killed it. Because I like Charlie better in this one.
I like Charlie better. He's not
Amy better.
He's not being misogynistic.
Yeah, he's not a complete asshole in this one.
Amy had some smarts about her. Not that Amanda Beer's version did not have some smarts, but Amy, I don't know. We feel more.
Yeah,
we know what she's feeling more.
Yeah, This film had a $30 million budget.
I liked Ed better.
I liked Ed better. Although I feel sorry for Ed in both versions.
Yes.
Because he's just kind of the outcast. But here, it makes more sense because him and Charlie used to be such close friends. Charlie's watching, like, home videos where they were playing superheroes together, and he's like, what the hell happened?
I like both Peter Vincents.
Yeah.
They're different characters, so it's hard to really compare. But I liked both of them.
But it's going to come down to Jerry, and I'm going with the 85 version because, damn, Chris Sarandon's Jerry is perfect in that film. And Colin Farrell's not terrible, but...
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, but I don't see how
he has to act against a green screen for every freaking scene he's in. So I am not faulting Colin Farrell at all. And his version is... playing the Jerry that's written, who is motivated just to keep his clan going. Yeah. He doesn't have a personal vendetta against Charlie.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting twist.
But they don't do anything with the clan. The clan shows up in the last...
Oh my God,
the last minutes of this film.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh, there's more? Why weren't we seeing these vampires?
Why weren't we seeing them?
Yeah, why didn't the whole bunch of them go into the club, a la Lost Boys? And
that could have been so cool.
Yeah. And it's like, if they're all vampires, why aren't they all hanging out during the night? But you don't see them literally until Peter and Charlie go down into that that basement area for the finale. And it's like, okay, throwing that at us now.
Right. Wasted.
And it's just because they have CGI and they can just do this, well, one vampire's scary, let's do 12. Or however many they had down. I don't even know how many they had down there.
Yeah, you don't know because they're just starting to crawl out of the dirt.
Yeah.
So it was anticlimactic, is basically the idea there. So, Carol, which version do you like most?
I'm going with 85. I like aspects of the 2011, and I think it's not it could have been a very good remake right up until that end, where it's just like, oh, okay, that makes no sense at all.
I would have been miffed about the CGI, but had forgiven it if the ending made any sense in this universe.
And it doesn't.
And it just doesn't. So, I also picked the 85 version, even with the misogyny in it, and the creepy character styling.
Yeah, and even though we like Charlie and Amy better in the remake, I'm still going to go 85 just because Jerry's so much better.
And I'm rooting for Jerry every time now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go Chris Sarandon.
All right, well, let's roll for
initiative. Okay, so I have rolled a 2, and number 2 is The Parent Trap.
The Parent Trap?
The Parent Trap.
Are we going to watch... Aren't there 3 versions?
Oh, gosh, are there 3?
I think.
Well, I know there's the Haley Mills version, and then there's the Lindsay Lohan version. Oh, God. Wow, that is a total switcheroo going from Fright Night to The Parent
Trap. But we do get a Scream Queen in The Parent Trap, just not in a Scream Queen.
That's right, because doesn't
role.
Janet Leigh play her? Who? Oh, no.
You're thinking of the right...
I'm thinking,
We can't think of her name right now.
Is Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Is in the Lindsay Lohan one.
She's the mother.
They
switched.
So they did. No, that's Freaky Friday.
Oh, that's Freaky Friday.
Parent Trap is the one with the twins.
Oh, okay.
Dennis Quaid and somebody else. Oh my. Liam Neeson's wife that died. Natasha Richardson, I think, play the parents in the Lindsay Lohan one.
Okay.
This is going to be an interesting one. Because we've got Disney versus Disney, because these are both Disney films.
I've seen the original.
Okay.
But I have not seen
So we are going to do The Parent Trap. So bring your kids, because we're doing a family-friendly episode of Refried Scenes. Let's see if we can curse, like, every third word. Talking about The Parent Trap.
I'm going to make some strawberry daiquiris for those of us above age 18.
That's right. We should drink during this one, because it's going to be so saccharine-filled. It is going to be so sweet and innocent.
Yeah.
Okay, and that will be next time on Refried Scenes.
Bye.
Bye.